Hello, happy little Saturday, Fight Right Warriors. Right now in the FD8, the big emphasis is to reinforce the absolute critical component of compliance. You have to get enough Defeed days in a row. Defeed is my new better term for regular days, which is the diet plan with nutrition designed to keep hunger at bay, manage cravings, provide all the fuel and nutrition for your body and mind, and to fuel your workouts and to make you happy. And then we have the refeed, which all of other coaches call a cheat day if they don't want to tell a client that, hey, you can definitely stay fat or fatten up by having a free whatever you want to eat cheat day, because usually the coach either does it himself or two know that when people feel fatter and desperate, they're going to be more likely to sign up again. So it's kind of manipulating people knowing they're gonna struggle. And then um, we have the people who do use cheat day, but it's not really anything that gets them out of, it doesn't cause problems, maybe a little guilt for no reason, but because you're a small eater or you moderate and you never had the tendency or the history of tsunami wave surfing or all nothing, getting super lean and then letting it all go, or be yo-yo dieting in fitness competition, modeling, whatever body weight division and so on, there will always be this up and down. And it works when you're young for most people. Didn't for me, really. I mean, it took 5-6 months to get lean and then a week to get fat. And I had no way to control myself after willpower for 5-6 months to get lean for a show. That was the highlight of my year. It was everything I thought about was living for that day. No wonder you end up there feeling like, what are you doing now? It's like this standstill. There is no way of keeping on. So then usually what I tried was to keep on going back on the same routine of getting leaner, then getting hungrier, then getting sadder and depressed, but I love the body and then I don't know what to do. Then I'm getting scared and I don't want to eat because then I'm gonna sabotage, and because it's all or nothing, all or nothing, all or nothing. I mean, it could have been that instead of sabotage idea, I could have a little extra and notice what happens with your body in appearance. Pump up, look more muscular. Might even drop a pound on the scale. And it did not mean that it was the refeed effect. Just suddenly happens. Sometimes when you're stressing your body all the time and then you have a good refeed, the stress is gone and your body looks better and less watery and so on. But what you think is water retention is fat. So if the fat keeps on staying and it's not going away, and it's also staying there looking uglier when you have cardio and sweat, that's fat, it's not water retention. So in the FD8, the practice I host is to count the days to build up endurance for eating for defeed days, followed by a refeed day, back to defeed, and then keep on. And the intervals between those two is something that's gonna vary. But if you have to refeed every other day, your regular defeed days are too low. And if you don't get leaner after, let's say, 3 or 4 weeks of defeed days in a row, you're not in a deficit most likely, or you forgot about the sudden spike of food you didn't want to own up to that you ate. All those things break the whole pattern, and every little part of that matters. There's a reason why people getting into competition shape are completely into 100%. There is no such thing as having a mood to eat, because you're gonna not be lean for sure. So it's a really good experience to kind of see that, yeah, you're in the mood for this now. You can cry about it, but if this is important for you, you have to stop bitching about it and just swallow. And I know everyone thinks like that's a bad way to live, or, oh, what a bad disordered way. But honestly, it has given me a lot of strength, tons of mind strength. But it's also gave me weakness in my mind, and that is what I'm working on every day. And now I'm at this day, my mind and my body has never felt more at peace and bliss, that I'm so happy. So when you are practicing the game of counting the days and the work you do on those days, it's kind of good to, I shouldn't say kind of, it's important to learn the psychology between about when you put the refeed in the system and how you're gonna bounce back, as in getting back to your defeed days. Because there's this kind of action paralysis when you go back on your word or think that you do, that you're sabotaging, you don't know what to do. So then one refeed turns into a cheat day, turns into a cheat weekend, turns into a cheat week, and then cheat week, and turns into a whole season. And then good luck getting lean and getting back to where you were. It's so easy. It's like this complete list when you let yourself go, and then far, far, far down you drop. This can be prevented if you learn and practice refeeds regularly, so they don't become this crazy storm in your mind that you don't know what to do with yourself. So here's a good tip about that. Most people love to have their refeed on their former cheat day, and that might probably be Saturday for whatever reason. Weekend, we want to enjoy. The problem with that is that there's a Sunday coming, and the Sunday means most people are gonna have kind of like, oh, I don't have work to do. There's this barbecue. I want to hang out with friends. And then, well, what do your friends do? They eat the chips and the nachos. And you want to have a Sunday brunch. You want to have that and just enjoy life. Now you have the problem of, you want to enjoy life, and you also want to be fit. So you want it all, but you don't want to pay the price or sacrifice or compromise. And now we tend to blow it out of proportion. So all we think about is, all we care for is the junk, or having no kind of limitation, no restrictions at all, no rules, nothing. We just want to be like kids who need rules, some ground rules. Now you just want to be free, and when you want to be free, usually that just means I'm gonna eat whatever. I think it's such a sad kind of mentality that you have come into thinking that you believe that if you can't have this food that isn't even good for you at all, just tastes for your greedy mouth and mind, that you believe if you can't have this, you have no life quality. But then look at your body, what you do with the food. It's no different than a heroin addict saying, well, I need life quality. I'm going to keep on having my heroin. I don't think anyone says that is going to be a sign of enjoying life. I think it's just a sign of being so destructed and destroyed, and you don't know anymore. You have nothing to live for. And that's how I feel like when you prefer to keep on living this culture of giving up on everything that has value for the long term. Just make sure you seize the moment and have whatever is ecstasy in your mouth, and then make sure you just keep on doing it, and then roll into it with a car so you don't have to move. How can that be attractive? I know what it feels like to have that body. It would be, you can't even have sex because you can't even put your body, you don't have the physical fitness with that kind of lifestyle to even squat or sit down on the toilet. So how much of happiness is that? The trick is to, if you have a tendency to every weekend, even though you want to be strong, you're not definitely willing to work that hard to get stronger mentally. So now we have a little problem. There's a block that you don't want to work it hard enough. And I say that because you do have an option. If I say you're gonna have $1 million tomorrow if you just stay strong on the diet today, which doesn't rely on you being managing hunger, like you're gonna be satisfied if you choose the proper way. Now, if you do that, you're gonna be strong enough to get the $1 million tomorrow. You know what you would do? You wouldn't have a problem. You would stay strong, but then when you got the millions, you would probably go back to eating again because you got what you wanted. So if the tendency is always that you go into the same giving up, you don't see the difference between refeed and cheat day or moderation versus whatever much, and you have the same tendency of justifying the wrong kind of foods for calorie budgets, which are not helping you stay strong at all. So now you're doing the typical calorie budget system, devil's advocate, which I just teach you that to make a point that you have to forget the lie, the myth, that you can't lose weight on junk food only. Of course you can, but we are not talking about losing fat, losing weight only. We care about gaining weight in lean muscle and losing fat. That's different. Losing weight and regaining is what people do all the time, and they always talk about, I just lost 5 pounds, Pauline. Yeah, but they're the same every week. You can do that when you want to maintain your body. It works great, be lean, stay lean, and then have a repeat properly and then go back. That's what people do. Me too. But that means everything has to be compliant. I cannot just suddenly have an accidental day turned refeed. I cannot just refuse to go down in calories that will make me lean because I consider myself that I should have more calories. Like, look at me. I'm not that big. I don't need that much. So if you have the tendency that every week can turn into double refeed cheat day, and you also forget to pay attention that having my heaven in a bowl or anything in the fighter diet, chocolate, peanut butter, concoctions, cakes, they are much better compared to regular food. That is why that is all I eat. I don't eat anything man-made in a store anymore. I haven't for years. I counted. I haven't been out to a restaurant, haven't eaten out for 4 years. And you bet I don't miss any of it. But some people love to do it, and I love to do it too at times, but I was never satisfied with it. It was always having to moderate indulgence and then feel like I didn't even have to. So that's why end with a pogo at night was always the way to do it. So after dinner, looking good in the dress, playing the game, eating something, and then go home and then finish with pogo. That was the last years before I completely lost my interest in that. So now, if every weekend in a row has had the same pattern, that you're trying but then you give up on it and then you come back to Monday, you're gonna be the typical Monday crowd. It's always like that. It's so busy in the gym, busy with cardio, busy in bench press, every Monday at gyms and also in our culture. I see it here on my walk. My favorite walk, well, on Mondays, like everyone is on a long marathon. Everyone is walking in a line, and that annoys me because I'm not doing a group activity. And then today, nobody. So the same tendency is the same here, the pattern. And I love to observe it because I think it's very interesting with human nature. So here's my tip. You should put your refeed on the Sunday, so you have to go back on a Monday. So now you don't have an extra day of opportunity to sabotage. And now if that doesn't work, put the refeed on the Monday. How much are you willing to sabotage the first day of the week? So that's how you have to play around it to see, okay, where is the perfect planning? And then you also have to add the kind of police system. That means someone needs to keep you in check. Someone needs to be there to say, hey, did you stay strong? That's why we have coaches, or why I check in. Because you bet I'm not doing it for me. I don't need to check in with someone. And I checked in with myself before. That's why it took me a long, long time because I didn't have anyone to impress but myself, and apparently I liked to beat myself up mentally. So that's what I concern myself at times. I think about the clients who will never wake up to realize they're not going to do it on their own. That no matter how much you want or you enjoy my community, which is completely where you need to be, you really need a place to practice with your fellow peer ones who are not at my level of strength, who are struggling, who are where you have a lot to learn every day. If you're not there, you're with your friends who are doing what you don't want to do. And now you're terrified about getting weak and they're gonna psych you out. Well, what kind of friends are those then? Why do you want to hang out with them? Unless you can stand up for yourself. Is the whole friendship about eating junk and drinking, and then if you don't do that, they don't care anymore? I don't think those are friends then. Heard of drinking buddies? Same thing with eating buddies. That's why people stick together a lot. They like to eat junk food and kind of validate each other. That's okay. So if you notice that you have access to the amazing FDA community, you know you are encouraged to post about yourself, so we get to know you, and then add your struggle and reach out before you go and make the executive decision that you shouldn't take for yourself, because if you do, you're going to keep on choosing what you don't want to have chosen. And if you wonder how I know, look at your track record always. Like if you wonder, should you be concerned about letting go? I would say definitely if you're already struggling with it. What would make you less struggling later without any increased strength training in mind? That's why we do the counter days. Sometimes it's shocking to see the lack of long-term thinking and just right here in the moment. That it's almost like you don't want to believe that it's going to be easier in the future, which is the only way you can hold on and believe and not give up. So if you notice that you're signing up for my challenge and you love to post it first, but then you go back in the same mindset of feeling that, I don't want to have the pressure on me, I don't want to do this. The typically thing that happens when you get scared of, what if you succeed? You have to keep doing this. And if you're not succeeding, how are you going to save face for yourself and everyone else? And that is another problem. Like you're living to please others. You're always living to be validated by others. You're always there to have appreciation from others. You always want the world to tell you that you're all that. And since you can't have that enough for your liking ever, because everyone is greedy, and no matter how many compliments the world or people tell you, you're never gonna take it the right way. It's always gonna be, oh, thank you, and then, wait, what? How do I know it was a compliment? Because you don't feel that you deserve the compliments. You still want them, but the insecurity and not knowing how to deal with them indicates there's a little conundrum to solve. And that is why people sign up for my VIP coaching. This is where the clients know that they're just kind of never growing up to do what they want to do, that stops everything in their life from actualizing. But there's nothing becomes what they want without anyone who leads the way, and that's why they're with me. So now the check-in is stronger and the coaching is more for you. There's just one person, so of course you're going to have more directions that it's going to be easy to solve. But that comes with a higher price. Now your dream that you want to work for is going to cost you a little bit more. And the reason for that is like, I'm just one person. There is not another Pauline, and I'm limited in time just like you. And I can also not sit with too many a day because I'm filming my video workout and I'm doing my lessons in the FDA and I'm updating and making all my social media marketing myself. And so I'm busy. Then I have my whole body myself, and everything is slower because I'm not 20. And I have to kind of add more minutes on every task to get myself ready. And I say that with all excitement. Like, I love my life and I love everything. And not one part of me thinks, oh, I wish I was 20 again. Not one time. Not one time. Because it was so much struggle mentally to get to where I wanted to be. And then it took a long time for me to solve to where I felt happy. And by the way, throughout all these years, 90% of the time I was considering myself happy and super happy and happy, happy, happy. But it was the dark, dark times that came every time when my body got leaner and leaner. When it was my dream, and I want to maintain it. I couldn't. Even though I had all my ways to do it, I still couldn't believe, and I was terrified about trying it for a long time. I had the same fears. I just made the system to override my fears so I could find my way. So to summarize, defeed and refeed, think about how you plan this refeed and look at the consequence, what happens. Analyze your behavior and see, maybe you can try it a little different. And then also know, it's not a human right to have a refeed. You can definitely go for months on defeed days in order to get lean. But if you want to maintain your lean body and you're struggling even staying on a get lean plan, which is easier, it's easier mentally to have such a one-way focus. When you're going to maintain, that's when you just get an identity crisis. You have no idea what to do. Even though you rationally think, yeah, you should just continue or have a refeed and then continue. You don't have that in your mind. It's like an unknown territory, unknown concept of maintaining this struggle happily. So it's like you don't even know what to do. And what to do? Experience and experience and practice and practice. That's why we sign up for the FD8. And just so you know, it costs you almost nothing with the early bird. And even without the early bird, it's like $1 a day or so. So then I wonder, maybe my admission is too cheap, so you think that it's no worth, no value. You know everything and you have it all. But I don't want to have a little clique of people who can pay tons of money to just be misery one's company anyway. I don't host my community to have a place where nobody grows and everyone is put down. Everyone is said that you can never achieve your goals or whatever. What I do is enlighten you, and I open up your mind about bodies, body composition, how it's not going to be the way you think. And I explain how it works with saggy skin and loose and droppy skin and muscle gain and strength. But then if I do it too much, then people just get tired of realizing that your fantasy of how it's done, it's not at all real. And then everyone gets butthurt, and then it's typically that Pauline is just some extraordinary unicorn with no real feelings or human needs. And we know that's the easy way to kind of use me as a scapegoat, and that comes with the territory. When you're a public person or someone people know, they have all these kind of concepts and ideas about you that are mostly based on the past, and then they think that you're that one, or it's completely have no idea and doesn't even want to know. Again, another sign of do not want to be real, and if you don't want to be real, you cannot make results real. So see you later in the FD8 with the lesson of the day. Keep on checking the counting the days. If you can't count your days over 6 days in a row, that's your first goal. And that is when I have to say that if you so hard for you to practice refeed right away, don't. You don't have to. It's not designed for you to get lean. It's just the way you have to learn in order to be able to maintain leanness. If you're too scared of practicing refeed, you are not going to be able to maintain a lean body. because you are not going to do what got you the lean body. So think about that. Do not work like a all or nothing again, diapers in a gym rat life that everyone tries to do again. Because a lot of clients think that the same message is the same and the same. You want to work hard and try it harder this time, and you think that makes me happy. No, not really. I mean, I don't believe in just work harder. I believe working smarter and thinking a little bit about why you do this and analyze instead of this. Oh, I messed up yesterday. I brush it off. Let's start. Today's a new day. And there's no evaluation. There's no looking backwards to see why did this happen so you can prevent it happening again. And I think that with our emphasis on our intellect and our rational way of reasoning that we hold so high in favor, whatever we call it, why is it that it's so horrible to go back and analyze your sabotage when that is the only way you can actually see it for what it is and then start to work around it? So it's almost like, everyone has dementia every time because it's convenient and you don't want to know about it. So you just use a typical cultural idea, the idealism of start over today, forget yesterday. Yeah, it works from a mindset as in if you just want to be happy, but you won't become the strong person for yourself ever because you are just too weak on yourself. And again, nobody will give you a trophy in heaven because you know how to struggle in the gym and stay focused on your eating. Nobody. But if you care about your life and your health and your family and your friends and you want to be happy and it's not just shallow happiness in something that isn't at all, it's time for you to see the way I see it, that the whole struggle is the point. The forever, never-ending, build and burning mentality is what makes life the reason to be here. That if you come to insight that the best way of living life is to make it tough by your own decision, and then make sure that you thrive, that is how I like to live my life. I don't have an interest to be less. But if you want to do it, if you don't want to work so hard, listen instead of making me the bad person. You can do whatever you want. I'm just saying that I cannot give you the results you want just because you sit with me and listen to me or invest in me. I still have to work with reality that you're gonna get served what you're doing regularly. And the less you do it regularly, the less anything is gonna be there. But again, you have all the options. So if you have a thought that why you're struggling, is it maybe that you don't want to do it? Is there another way to do it? Can you lower the bar so you get to start? Can you stop wanting to train like you're on Usain Bolt but in fitness? Can you find it in you to commit to less training time so you actually get to train at all? It's almost like everyone is so overambitious just to fall flat. So that is why we do stepping stones, right? So here you go, you have your toddler meal plan, your toddler workout. And then after that, well, you're already started. Now it gets easier. Everyone goes the same way. Everyone builds it up from nothing. It's just maybe your time like 30 years later. But hey, what else do you have in your life? For me, I have no deadline, but I love that I have this routine to practice every day. I want to practice it every day. This is what gives me life quality. To the extent that you don't hear me talk about how I want to travel again or how I wish I left town. Nothing. 4 years, guys. That's how much I love my daily life. And also, since I've been investing in meditation since November 2019, that is best done in an environment where my focus is on me. So not really when you go to party and then you have meditation after. Anyway, see you in the group. But remember now, plan a little bit, but think about the way you reason about your indulgences and what is the real problem. An early bird 50% off ends in 2 days or so, October 1. Then after that, it's full admission. And if you've never been in my challenge or you have not been in the challenge for the last 2 years, you should definitely join. I don't know any other place that is like mine.